That's kind of like low touch, and so almost all the girls will give you their Instagram. But again, girls will expect you to do that. They'll expect you to ask for their Instagram instead of their number. Hello and welcome to Darren's Travels. On this channel we talk about traveling across the world. If you're a guy and you're taking your first trip by yourself, that's what this channel is about. Today I want to talk about 4 apps that you want to have on your phone before you take your first trip. I'll be talking about Instagram. I'll be talking about Google Translate. I'll talk about XE currency exchange app, and then also WhatsApp, the communications app. Anyway, so I'll start with Instagram. It's 2024. Every girl you meet overseas is going to have Instagram. She's probably going to be on her Instagram 24/7. You have to have Instagram if you're going to be meeting people when you're traveling overseas. Also, make sure that you have like a halfway decent Instagram. I mean, you have enough pictures on there where it kind of shows you have a relatively interesting life. Things like that, because once you meet girls and you exchange Instagram, she's going to check your Instagram almost immediately, and so you want to have a pretty decent Instagram when you, like I said, when you're traveling. So, and also you might want to ask girls, and it's kind of 50-50 now. There was a time where you would always ask girls for their Instagram when you met them, as opposed to like asking them for their WhatsApp, for their number. But you can kind of do whatever you want. I mean, if you want to ask for their Instagram, go ahead and do that. That's kind of like low touch, and so almost all the girls will give you their Instagram. But again, girls will expect you to do that. They'll expect you to ask for their Instagram instead of their number. When you're traveling. So make sure you have Instagram on your phone. You don't have to worry about like having like Facebook or Twitter or Snapchat or anything like that. I know the girls definitely are on TikTok, but you don't really exchange, communications on TikTok, at least now in 2024. But you definitely do on Instagram. And then once you get their Instagram, you message them, tell them it was, great meeting them, all that stuff. And you can arrange a date just based on the Instagram messaging app. And that's about 80% of it nowadays. And again, you can do the regular telephone number and all that, but girls under 30 anyway will definitely expect you to use Instagram. So that's the first app that you have to have on your phone is Instagram. If you don't, you probably already have it, but I'm just reiterating that it's super, super important. At least now it is. The second app you should have is Google Translate. Google Translate is just what it says. It's a translation app, and so when you're overseas, you just kind of type in English what you want to say, and it'll translate it into the foreign country. The best thing about it is that it has like a microphone function, and you can talk into the microphone, and it'll translate it out loud into the other language. So if you're talking to somebody when they're standing right in front of you, you can just say it into the microphone, and it'll say it out loud, and then they can say it back in their language, and it'll translate into English. And also, you should know it's and if you've dealt with kind of like translation apps 10 years ago, you might have been disappointed in how accurate they were. But nowadays, the Google Translate is super accurate. It's very accurate, probably 90%, 98%. But it is accurate these days, and it has like that predictive aspect of it to it. It kind of knows your context now. It's probably some of AI involved in it, but Google Translate is really good. So when you're talking in the microphone, it'll say out in their language the correct speech. Also, the other great thing about Google Translate is the camera function. There's a camera function on it where you kind of open up the camera function. You can put the phone up against like a sign or a menu or anything that's in the foreign language, and it'll turn those words into English words, and so you can understand it. It's really good for like the menus. Any signs on buildings, things like that. It's super helpful. So make sure you have Google Translate on your phone before you travel for your first time overseas. The third app is XE currency exchange, and it is basically what it sounds like. It's a currency exchange thing, because when you go overseas, the USD, the American dollar, the US dollar, it's going to be stronger or weaker depending on where you're at, and you want to know what that value is. And so the best thing about X, and the reason why also you want to know is because XE will tell you what it really is, kind of like on the Forex exchanges or whatever. Because when you get to a foreign country, if you look at those big currency exchange stores with all the bright lights and the different type of numbers, those aren't the real currency exchange rates. Those are just what they're advertising when you're there. And so you want to know what the real rate is, and XE Currency Exchange will give you the real rate, so you know what it is. I think it's really helpful for tipping. If you're at a restaurant and they come out with the bill, and the bill is, whatever, $6,000 in the local currency, but it's really $25, 25 US dollars. Well, if you want to give them a tip, say $6, then you have to figure out what $6 is in the local currency. And so if that's $1,000 or $2,000, whatever the local currency is, the XE will tell you all that almost immediately. So it's really good. So you can just type it in and understand what $6 is to tip them when you're at a restaurant. Another thing I'll just say, completely different. When you're at a restaurant, they bring you the credit card reader. Always run your card in the local currency. Don't run your card in USD. It's always going to give you an option of running the card either way. Always run it in the local currency when you're overseas. And so that's that. So XE Currency Exchange is a very, very helpful app when you're overseas. The final app, and probably the least important on this, is WhatsApp. The WhatsApp is a communications app, like text messaging. Essentially, that's what everybody uses for. I guess you can make phone calls on it also. But every foreigner you meet will probably have WhatsApp. They've had it for 20 years because I think, and again, I don't know, but I think way back when foreigners could use WhatsApp, and then they didn't have to use their phones, and they didn't have to do the exorbitant roaming charges on the phones way back when. And so everybody used WhatsApp. I think it was cheaper from what I understand. But anyways, most people you meet overseas will have WhatsApp. And like I said earlier on, with the Instagram thing, it's like a lot of girls you'll meet, you'll exchange Instagram with them, or you'll ask for their WhatsApp number and basically ask for their phone number. So make sure you have WhatsApp on your phone. I just do the basics on WhatsApp. I'm not sure what all there is to do. I will mention that a lot of girls in like Central Europe and Eastern Europe have Telegram now, and that's within the last couple of years. It's called Telegram. Again, I can't think if I've met any girls. I mean, I have friends on Telegram, but I've never met anybody overseas in exchange for their Telegram stuff. But maybe that might come in the next couple of years, depending on what part of the world you're in. So that's that. So anyways, so those are the 4 apps I would suggest that you have on your phone. Have Instagram, have Google Translate, have XE Currency Exchange, and have WhatsApp on your phone, and you'll have a great time. So hope that helps. Like I said, if this is your first trip overseas, you'll know kind of, like I said, what to have on your phone before you go. If you have any questions, or if you have any suggestions on any other apps that you think might be helpful, put them in the comments, and then so everybody can see what it is. But anyway, so thanks for watching, and please subscribe to the channel. There'll be more videos like this helping you take your first trip overseas if you're a guy. All right, take care. Thanks.